so get that door bolted on. I did end up taking my tool here. I made this. Basically what this does, it's got two different size little pieces of pipe. And then what you do is you set that thing down in between the hinge, like, see if I can get in here where you guys can see it. I kind of snake this through my door. Basically what I put up against those two bolts, and it sits right next to those, and it bends. Basically what it does when you close the door is puts pressure against these two bolts and then this here, and it tries to bend this lip, this edge, and then this hinge, and it tries to pull it back, which will pull your door down and back. So we're quite a bit down. We were actually hitting before. We were almost in that rust spot right there. So between my big ass laying on it and me messing with our hinge, we're very close. On top of this looks pretty good. I think the door could come back just a hair more, but we can mess with that with the shims or whatever we gotta do. I'm not getting too carried away. I did set this back in. This has a bow. We were messing around thinking and kind of figured out that what's happening is when you push this thing in there, is it's spreading this away from this, and it's opening up the bottom, which is actually putting a sag in here. So these bolt in, but we decided to weld them. On a 74, these would have been welded. Only on the early, like 66 and maybe 67, that the channel is bolted in. So once we know that they're pretty close, I'm gonna go ahead and just use those holes there for my plug welds. And then the next step is going to be getting onto our floors. We got those finished up yesterday morning. Played with this today, so probably try to knock this pan and this pan out. And we'll probably just cut this pan across here, come up around along that corner right there, and basically turn this pan into this pan. As long as when we peel this apart, we don't destroy this one, and there's no more rust in like this little pinhole right here. That, if at all possible, I could leave as much of the original parts, as long as they're not all rusty or just beat to crap. Leave this thing as much as original as we can. This metal here is a lot better than aftermarket Chinese stuff, so.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gone live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants you, better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm...
Whew. All right, well, hammered most of that out of there. That is loud, especially in here. Got a reverb, so that air hammer is twice as loud. I got earmuffs on, but man, I had those things off. I wouldn't be able to do this. Anyway, we got that floor pan out. Ended up beating the crap out of here more than I would like. So I'm gonna hammer and dolly that and decide. I was thinking we could cut this panel here and overlap it, but maybe we'll come just underneath those little like ribs and try to kind of splice it in. Just above this crack, we'll end up cutting some of that overlapped rust out, and then basically just doing maybe like 3/4 of an inch or maybe ½ inch overlap there. So we'll figure that out once we get the pans fitted in there. If not, we'll just go up to the top and cut it out there. I just would hate to get rid of that original piece. It's not like literally the only real rusted spots there, and a little bit along here, but sometimes that air hammer is a little violent. Anyway, we got hammer and dolly this. We'll clean this up, sand that all down, maybe put some rust treat on this. But we're gonna have to cut somewhere as a rust hole here from about here, come across here, and we'll patch in just this little piece right here, just a little L bracket, kind of like we did on that side. And then we'll come back, grind these little spot welds off. They're still hooked into the cross member. Same thing with this cross member there. But this piece here, unfortunately, cut into it, so I'll have to weld that. But it looks like that piece there is kind of sandwiched in between this rocker that goes up. There's the inner rocker that comes out, and then the floor pan. Well, all three of those are welded together. So instead of really messing with like trying to remove both of these cross members and taking the chance of distorting where we're at, I think what I'll do is I'll just gonna trim it back like I did that side and we'll overlap this. So we're only like, you know, the thickness of that, which is like 22, well, that's about 18 gauge. So we'll literally be that much higher. I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Then we won't get into the structural over cross members. Plus we'll seam seal the crap out of this thing anyway. It gets seam sealed pretty heavily anyway before it gets bed lined, or just maybe we're just gonna epoxy it. I'm not really sure yet. Not sure if they decided or not, but this is also back in this. This is also like when you sandblast something that you roll the car over and over and over. Especially if you have a rotisserie, you got a fighting chance to get most of the sand out, but you just never quite get all of it. And the reason being is you've got pockets that hold sand. Like this inner pocket here is going to hold sand, so we'll throw it upside down. A lot of it will come out like those holes, and there's a hole up here. And then this one here, you roll it this way, and you'll get most of your sand out this hole here. And then like this one here. So luckily the Broncos, they put kind of a drain hole in those cross members, so that's probably what saved those cross members. But that's kind of why you don't, you'll just, and then like the rockers fill up full of sand, you just have sand coming out of your car. For you gotta put an air hose in every hole you can, blow all the air, vacuum it, roll the car around, and just try to get all the air, and you just, all the sand, you just never get 100% of it. But, you know, that's just kind of one of the things you gotta deal with. Looks like these ones aren't rusted inside. They got a little bit of surface rust. I'll just wire wheel that and spray some of our weld through primer on that just to give it something. Most shops honestly probably wouldn't even do that. They would just weld it in and then primer both sides. But since we got it open, I like to do the best job I can. So maybe that's my fault. I don't know. Probably a curse, but I like to at least try to do the best job I can when I'm doing this. Then my grandpa used to say, at the end of the day, at least you know you did the best job you could. So.
Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby.
Alright, so I just sprayed a light coat of that weld through primer on both those cross members. I still gotta weld that in. And then I need to spray on that top edge right there too, because that overlaps. But we got all our holes drilled in this piece here. Our ink marks coming through, but it's okay because it's going to get welded and then it'll get sandblasted again right up to that ink mark. So I just wanted to make sure, like, where the blaster wasn't going to get, that there was some sort of rust protection in there. So I think I'm going to throw that one in. I'm going to weld that piece in there, put that one in, and go ahead and weld it in because this front one lays over the top of it. And then it will give me a little bit of room to hear while I'm going to have to be down on my knees working this over to give me a little bit of extra arm room and support. So I try and work through those two big holes. I think that's going to be the best plan. A couple more minutes. I'm going to drag my welder and stuff over here. That primer should be good and dry. It's been about 10 minutes. Another 10 minutes or so. And then yeah, I'm going to weld that rear tan in, and then that patch piece, and then start working on the front.